Our Pikes Peak story starts back in 2021 at Mount Washington.
TI, Frog Racing, Subaru.
It is in 2021 that Margaret established the record for fastest woman up the Mount Washington hill climb, also known as Climb to the Clouds. After that, we started to look into Pikes Peak, and we had acquired a Subaru car that we are planning to modify for Pikes Peak. Unfortunately, during testing, the car caught on fire and sustained a lot of damage, and we decided to abandon the project at that point. Then fast forward to 2024, and we were building a new car, namely an Audi RS4 rally car for Margaret to beat her record at Mount Washington, possibly in 2026. And we brought our car at the Okemo Hill Climb, one of the New England Hill Climb Association hill climb, at the end of 2024. And it is at Okemo that we met Ray Team Motorsport and Frank for the first time with his Audi S1, and that we started to talk. At the time, I still had a broken leg from incident at the Burke Hill climb that same year. And we were just doing some testing, but we got to know Frank and talked about Mount Washington 2026, as Mount Washington 2025 wasn't going to happen. And we just stayed in touch during the winter of 2024 to 2025. Frank gave me a call and said, well, I have to be direct, but would you like to drive the S1 at Pikes Peak this year? That same week, we drove directly to Frank's shop to discuss the project at Ray Team Motorsport, and we decided to give it a go. We still didn't know if Margaret or Emmanuel was going to drive the car, but we were on board. So we were already in March of 2025, and there was only 3 months left before the race. And we had to apply for a driver change because Ray Team was planning on using the same driver as last year, but he couldn't make it. So we decided that Emmanuel would do the testing and development for the short time frame left this year. And we started with a test day at the Thompson racetrack, and then we did the Ascutney 1 hill climb from the New England Hill Climb Association series, and we finished just 2 weeks before Pikes Peak with the Okemo hill climb for a final test. Unfortunately, we got a very wet and bad weather for every single testing day, so at least we got some very good experience in the wet, but absolutely zero testing in the dry. The other part of preparation was to practice on the simulator every day to make sure I knew the hill by heart and all the turns. And in no time, we are at Pikes Peak.
Hey everyone, Frog Racing, we are at the summit of Pikes Peak doing some recce for race week. So we are just at the summit house. The weather is gorgeous today, as you can see. Still quite a bit of snow at the summit, but the road is clear. Definitely a bunch of frost sieve on the upper section, but the rest of the road is actually pretty good condition. So tomorrow is a tech inspection. First practice Tuesday, middle section for us, Wednesday upper section, and Thursday lower section. Friday optional practice in Fan Fest, and then a race next Sunday on the 22nd. So
actually 1 year after your
yeah, that's gonna be just 1 day short of my 1 year anniversary of the crash at Burke.
And first day is scrutineering and tech inspection, and I recognize some friendly faces from the American Rally Association who are running rally safe for the event. The car passes tech with flying colors, and we are ready for the first day of practice on the hill.
And we are with Coach Jeff from Midsport. We just did a run up the hill to go over the line, the apex, the bumps, etc. We are going to go re-practice one more time the middle section that we'll be doing at full speed tomorrow for practice. And look at this weather, this gorgeous weather we had today.
Gorgeous.
So I hope the weather is going to stay like this. It looks good for the week so far.
The first day of practice is a middle section of the road, starting from Glen Cove and arriving at Devil's Playground. It is the most scenic part of the road with a lot of hairpins and a wonderful views. You can get a lot of sun in your eyes when the sun rises, and that day the cloud coverage was starting just at Glen Cove and moving up and down the start line, which gave us absolutely the best scenery you can get at Pikes Peak with just the clouds underneath us. It was absolutely amazing. So the very first run was just to test that the tune was working properly at altitude, and then we pushed a bit more on the next runs. Mark from EFI Motorsport did an amazing job to adjust the car to the altitude. The gearbox had gears that were too tall, and there was really nothing we could do about this. So first gear was a bit too short, second gear a bit too long, so it was challenging for all the hairpins to find the right gear and momentum to negotiate the hairpins, and unfortunately the top of a gear wouldn't get you back in the boost for the next gear, so there was definitely a bit of adjusting to be able to find the right rhythm with the car. But it was overall a very successful day. No issues whatsoever with the car. We had some logistics issues with the oxygen tank and the tube, so I ended up doing the first two runs without oxygen, but oxygen was back for the last run, and we wrapped up the first day of testing very successfully. In the afternoon, the rain started to come down, and it actually snowed at the top, so when we went back on the mountain at 3 a.m. the next day to practice the top section of the mountain, starting from Deville's Playground to the top, they had to close the road, and we had ice and snow on the edges of the road. The top part of the hill was definitely the scariest by far for me. Plus the challenging condition on the first one. We just used the Hoosier wets to be on the safer side of things, but if the road was icy, there was nothing much I could do. The car doesn't have ABS. It doesn't have an adjustable suspension, so everything, you just have to adapt your driving to negotiate the road the best you can between the bumps, and there are a lot of blind corners with questionable grip, with especially the wind that is blowing sand through the road, and so it's very hard to estimate how much commitment you can get through those corners with this car, but the views were once again amazing. And on my second run I had a very close encounter with a marmot, so that added to the excitement for the day as well.
You know, thanks to Jeff, with the little coaching, everything gets a lot smoother for the tire changes, the tire warmers.
Everything was getting better. I was getting more comfortable with the car. The crew was also getting more organized. Margaret and Michael were doing media on the hill and getting to know the places where to shoot and get acquainted with the rest of the media folks. So everything was making really great progress. And at the end of the day, we're ready to do that again for day 3 at the bottom of the hill.
Today the qualifying day 3, and today was the lower section. Emmanuel did fantastic driving. The guys did great job. Jeff showed them how to work as a race team.
The team's always been in high spirits all week. Everybody's got a rhythm going, everybody knows their job, everybody's got their corner to make sure that when things happen, they're ready, it's instant, and their training kicks in.
Unfortunately, we only got to run twice at the bottom of the hill because of all the red flags that morning. So the first one always being a run to test the tune where I can't push. I only got to run once at speed for the lower section of the hill, which was not ideal to put down a good qualification time, but the car ran great. We had pretty much everything sorted out for race day.
So that qualifying run, when he pushed it a little bit, he said he was going to give it a push. His start was, oh, perfection. So he did the second run and immediately went 17 to 20 seconds faster, so he's right on the button. He's done very well.
And at the end of the second run, the car wouldn't restart, and we had some electrical issues that the team had to chase down before race day. The crew had to pause their fixing of the car to get the car ready for the Hall of Fame ceremony for the induction of Michele Mouton. And both away team's car were invited to the reception. Both car number 10 that I was driving and the car number 16 with Alex Kim. And when Michele Mouton arrived at the ceremony with her family, she turned around, looked at the car and asked in French, "So who are the drivers?" And being the, I guess, only French speaking driver around, I moved towards her and said, "Well, I'm Emmanuel and I'm one of the drivers." And she asked me about the car, and we started talking about the car. And there was a very privileged moment to share with Michele Mouton. David Hackle was also there with his 1983 Quattro, and there were a lot of media. We did a lot of group pictures with Michele, and then she was very kind and signed the cars and signed our helmets, and she also signed a French flag that Frank had prepared that says "Thank you, Michele Mouton," and I took this flag on race day to the finish and displayed it at the finish. It was really a highlight of this edition of Pikes Peak, and definitely lifetime memories were made there. The next day we had a fan fest in Colorado Springs, where over 30,000 spectators descended down the streets of Colorado Springs. And we were there with our sponsors from Liquimoli, and we signed a lot of autographs and cards and shared the stories about Pikes Peak, and a lot of people were really interested in the Audi S1 and the history behind the car, as well as looking at the signature of Michele on the car. On Saturday, we went on the mountain to set up, and we had to spend the night on the mountain. So had a nice little barbecue and then set up our tents for the night. And it was very windy, and we slept between two trailers hooked up to the trailer, and spent the night until next morning for the drivers' meeting at 6:30. It ended up that the drivers' meeting got delayed until we finally got the announcement that the wind was too strong at the top, and the race had to be cut down to Glen Cove, and so we would only run the lower section of the hill. Of course, everybody was disappointed that we wouldn't go to the top of the mountain, but now we still had to race this lower section that I had only practiced really once at speed, and we had to give it our best, and that's what we did. Oh, and you remember that electrical issue I had at the end of practice on Thursday? Turned out that actually it was a problem with the ECU, and the crew tried to get ECU overnighted to Colorado Springs, but of course UPS didn't deliver, so we had to run with the ECU we had, and the ECU was prone to overheating, and so the crew kept the ECU in the cooler with ice until we had to start the car, and then we just went for the run.
We need to make sure that the driver's mind is now very comfortable and very relaxed. A relaxed mind is a fast mind. A relaxed mind is a safe mind in a fast car.
1986 Audi 4000, and I have to say, if you're shooting for Kyle's heart, this is the way you do it. I mean, this looks proper as far as hill climb cars are concerned. I know there's a lot of really cool cars here that have had so much engineering and design in them, but there's something about the period correct look. Just the way that it was done back in the 80s, there's something really, really neat about this particular car. So Emmanuel Sachet running this 2,500-pound Audi 2.3-liter turbo up the mountain here shortly. I love that. And again, the Audi Quattro system. I mean, you think about motorsport. Oh, hold on. That's lovely. We've seen a couple of these Audi TTRSs, GTs and TTRSs here. Really neat cars. Here comes Emmanuel Sachet across the stripe in the Audi 4000, 509043. And that will be P16 in the Pikes Peak Open category. Job well done. And again, I can't wait to watch or look at the photos coming out of this event of that car. So cool.
And we made it to the top of Pikes Peak today. We couldn't run up there because of too much wind. It was epic with the sound of the S1. Too bad we couldn't go all the way to the top. That would have been even more epic. But just very thankful having been able to make it here. The car ran like a champ, and I hope next time we can continue the run all the way to the top. Thank you all for all your support, and we'll make an updated video when I come back at the bottom of the hill. Thank you guys.
The other great news is that Alex in the second car from Red Team Motorsport also made it to the top, and so both cars from the team finished, which was an incredible achievement.
Congrats, Alex!
It was definitely a bittersweet moment. There's a strong feeling of accomplishment to make it to the finish, but there is also a lot of disappointment that we didn't get to run the entire hill. But this is what happens when you race Pikes Peak, and at least we got lucky to have nice weather and be able to run up to Glen Cove and celebrate at the end of the day. Definitely overall an awesome experience, especially very special for this edition, with Michele Mouton being there for the running of the 103rd edition. I also got to meet another French legend, Romain Dumas, on the next day at the award ceremony. The other French legend was my friend Mike, who made the trip and did media and support all along the trips. Thanks again for joining us in this adventure. Thanks to our good friend Jeff to always pointing us in the right direction, for all the coaching, advice and good laughs. We wouldn't have made it without you. Thanks again. Thank you to Frank and the whole team and crew at Red Team Motorsport for providing a fantastic car and their support throughout the whole event. Thank you to Margaret for all her care after my crash and all the rehab months after that, and her support to get me back in the racing seat and make it all the way up to the summit of Pikes Peak. I could definitely have done it without you. Thanks to all our friends and family who have followed us and supported us throughout this adventure. It was absolutely epic. And now we are getting ready for Pikes Peak 2026, where Margaret is going to be running. So if you're interested in joining us for this adventure, contact us at Frog Racing.